Good morning, student. This is Prema, your biology teacher from BRGS. Welcome to my biology class. In this class, we are going to study about the biodiversity conservation, how we conserve the biodiversity, what is the need for the conservation of the biodiversity. We should conserve the biodiversity due to following groups of regions. First one, the narrowly utilization. Human obtain countless direct economic benefits from materials like food, firewood, fibers, construction material, medicinal plants, and industrial products with increasing resources, but into prospecting nations endowed with rich biodiversity can expect to reap enormous benefits. We are already having so much of biodiversity, so much of benefits from the ecosystem. Okay, we have to conserve the biodiversity. Okay, then broadly utilitarian. Biodiversity plays a major role in ecosystem service that nature provides the production of oxygen during photosynthesis, pollination without natural pollinator, pleasure from nature are priceless. We are not pay for these biodiversity. Yes or no? Biodiversity plays a major role in ecosystem services that nature provides oxygen through the photosynthesis. The plants gives oxygen to respiration. Okay, without natural pollinator, pleasure from nature are priceless. We are not pay for these benefits from of the ecosystem. Next, ethical. For conserving biodiversity relates to what we own to millions of plants, animals, and microbes. Species has an intrinsic value. They have their own value, although it may not be of current or any economic value. Okay, that have the ethical value. They have its own value. It is our moral duty to care for their well-being and pass on our biological legacy in good order to future generation. Okay, we want this biodiversity in our futures also. For that purposes, we have to conserve the biodiversity. Okay, it is the duty, moral duty of the peoples to conserve the biodiversity. Next, how do we conserve the biodiversity? Okay, when whole ecosystem is conserved, all its biodiversity is also protected. There are two ways of conservation of diversity. First one is in situ conservation. It is also called on-site conservation. Second one is ex situ conservation. That is also called as off-site conservation. What do you mean by in situ conservation? See here. Conservationists have identified for maximum protection certain biodiversity hotspots. They already made the biodiversity hotspots. Okay, regions with very high levels of species richness and high degree of endemism. That regions already they made the hotspot. Okay, species found in that regions and not found anywhere else. Okay, there are 34 biodiversity hotspots in the world. Their hotspots laws. India has 14 biosphere reservoirs, okay, 90 national parks and 448 wildlife sanctuaries. Okay, next come to ex situ conservation. It is also called as off-site conservation. In this method, threatened animals, already existed animals and plants are taken out from their natural habitats and placed in special settings. When they are protected and given special care, like zoos, okay, zoological parks, botanical gardens, and wildlife safaris, and used for these purposes. Now, gametes of threatened species can be preserved in viable and fertile condition for long preserved in viable and fertile condition for long periods of time using cryopreservative. That means very low temperature we have to preserve the seeds or embryos, okay, or gametes, that we call it as cryopreservative techniques. Egg can be fertilized in vitro and plants can be propagated using